Howdy, y'all. You can see I ain't shaved here in a day or two. Don't hold that against me. Hey, my hat's off to Richard Boone, Mr. Georgia Man, one of the original descendants, straight line descendants of Daniel Boone. Thank you for my Atlanta Braves hat. I ain't for no team or against no team, but I am for Richard Boone and for giving me this hat. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. So I'll wear it for this video. And to real Jingy, G-I-N-G-Y, real Jingy, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, you'll just have to let me know. Anyway, you wrote an extremely long comment about what to say when the police talk to you and the little script and word games and stuff, and it was far more than I could write. I do most of my stuff on the smartphone. My computer's kind of old and won't do right, and my buddy that is helping me to get a Dell laptop that'll do production and all, his angel fund ran short. He was helping bury a child of a coworker that had died, and it got into many thousands of dollars to help them with bills and burial expenses. So I think he was 15 to 18 grand into it, and I don't have permission to use his name, so I won't do that. But anyway, it run his fund short, so we're several weeks behind in getting that, so I have to do everything on this phone, and this phone gets hot and quits a lot. So anyway, hopefully we'll get that pretty soon. But till then, this is what I got, and I do it as fast as I can, but I have problems doing videos and getting them uploaded as fast as I'd like to. But anyway, to your question, there's a lot of different scenarios, okay? And I'm not sure that I can remember everything you said, and if I had a laptop and my phone, I could work back and forth and do things better, but let's just work with what I have and be thankful to God for it. Anyway, say if you don't have a tag on your car and you have it deregistered, and most especially if you get the certificate of origin back from the state, and you issue your own title or your own ownership papers and register them with the county records department that says you're the true sole lawful owner of the automobile, and if you have a driver's license or you've had one and you deregister and terminate the adhesion contract you have with the state that says you're not going to be a part of their corporate entity, and then you're a subcorporation, and that's how they're able to get you for, quote, speeding violations, equipment violations, running stop signs, is because you're a part of their entity. Okay, say if you work at ABC grocery store. Okay, they have policies inside of their store. So if you violate their policies, then they can gig you, such as fine you as an employee, they can dock your pay, they can do a whole lot of things because you're an employee and you're part of their policy and procedures, okay? Well, when you go out into the world and you get a license, then you're converting your own right, to a privilege. And then you're getting a license. You're telling the state, I'm going to do business with you as a corporate entity in my all capital letters name. And I'm going to recognize that that's me, and I'm going to convert me to a license. And I'm going to say, this is my name in all capital letters, and I live at this all capital letters address, and I am a resident of your state. I'm not domiciled, I'm a resident. So you're up here, you're with God. So you're going to go from rights, you're going to go way down here, and get a privilege. You're going to use your right up here to contract, but you're going to contract to go downward and get a privilege and be a part of their corporation. And you're going to get a certificate of title from your state. And you're going to get an adhesion contract through a licensing agency, and then the police have the right, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say a privilege. It's a privilege to a privilege, but they're going to say they have a right and a duty as a statutory law enforcement officer, or if they're a peace officer but they're licensed or they're certified licensed under the state, and they're regulated to stop vehicles, and because you got a license plate on there, they're going to use that as prima facie evidence that they have a right and a duty to stop you for a corporate violation of a policy. See? So then you got to have this license. So if you got the license plate and if you have a license, it becomes very difficult to deal with law enforcement officers and peace officers, because they're going to say, well, they do have a license, they do have registration, they do have insurance, so they have stood down, yielded, and capitulated their rights as a man or woman down to a privilege of a corporation. And we do have authority over that. And they're right, they do. That's a fact. Okay, now, on the other hand, if you are trying to exert your rights as a man, but you have a hard time doing the things that you need to do, so you go ahead and say, well, I can't seem to get anywhere without the identification. An identification driver's license for the state seal on there costs the same amount of money, and so I'm going to kill two birds with one stone and get this, but I don't really want it. It's an absolute necessity against my will. Well, then, if you file your papers in the county courthouse and you put them on the county bulletin board, or you ask where do you place legal notices, and they tell you place them here or there, they're going to say it's a legal notice. I'm going to say it's a lawful notice. Legal is in the government system. Lawful is in the system of God and man. So I'm going to say lawful. Anyway, because lawful and legal's got different meanings, they're going to say it's the same thing, but it's not. But anyway, say you post it on the board and you file it with the county records office or state records office at your county, whatever, and you say that this is your name and you have an abode and you're domiciled within the boundaries of the state, and under the Constitution of your state and under the Constitution of the United States, this is the proper way to spell your name, your first and your middle name, and that you're the house of Smith, or you're the house of Jones, or the Smith of Jingy, or the house of Boone, or whatever, and that is a family name. That's not your name. You got a first and middle name, and that anything that you so-called sign is actually an autograph, unless you say it's a signature, and you're going to put AG down as abbreviations, and you're going to do it with or without periods, and you're going to put UCC 1-308, you're reserving your rights under UCC. If they want to say, well, we're under UCC, you got that covered, and then you put UD for under duress. But you're putting this in your notice, your sworn affidavit and notice to the state and the county, and you send one to the driver's license office, and you send one to the registrations office, or give them to your probate judge, depending on what state you're in. So you do all your notices, and you send them registered mail, and you keep copies of all this stuff. And if you don't have tags on your car, and you don't have driver's license, you don't have registration, and you don't have insurance, you got proof that you don't have these things. Now, to me, you can get insurance on an automobile whether it's registered or not. It's just like a house. You get insurance on the car as property, blah, blah, blah. And you can do it in every state, to my knowledge. But I know Texas and Alabama and Florida and Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas, you can. And I know people that have it, so that's why I know for a fact you can do it. But my point is, if you're going to have a driver's license and you're going to reserve all your rights, but you're doing this under pressure of society, your job is making you do it, your belief system of not trying to resist the government but protecting your rights, then if you put all this on paper and you swear affirm to it before 2 good witnesses, and then have a notary public notarize their signatures or their autographs, but not yours, they attest to you, and she's attesting to them. And then you get her apostille or his apostille that says that they are certified as ex officio officers in good standing on this date from the Secretary of State. That verifies their signatures for yours, and then it becomes a lawful document, or in their system, a legal document. Sometimes they'll say lawful. Even in their own policies and procedures and rules and statutes and laws, it'll say lawful. Sometimes it'll say legal. Sometimes it'll use the same word both ways. So it gets really, really tricky. But the point is, if you're going to be serious, then you're going to go deregister everything, your license and your tags, and for God's sakes, don't let this stuff go freaking suspended, because if you have anything that gets suspended or expired, don't let anything go suspended or expired. If anything's suspended or expired, in my opinion, I would go get it fully reinstated so that you're, quote, in good standing, and then deregister, okay? Make sure everything's in good standing and current for at least 30 to 90 days before you start this stuff, so it don't say it went suspended or expired during this process, okay? Because in my opinion, my personal opinion, if you're going to go down to the courthouse and do all this stuff and you're going to go through the state, you need to have all of this stuff documented, and then you send this to the state and you register it with the county. So when you go these steps. You send all this stuff in. You keep copies of all this stuff and you register all of this with the county. All of it, including your registered mail. You register and you claim everything. That is your strict proof of claim, your strict proof of claim. You've got it all in the county records. And then you also take that and send that to the state that shows you've done it. And if you post it on the bulletin board, it may be 10 or 15 pages long. You staple it together and you pin it there. Then you take pictures of it and you take a video of you putting it up there and a video of it being there. And maybe even you have a cover sheet that says, this is a lawful notice to the general public posted on this date and not to be removed by any man or government official till after so-and-so date, which is on the 32nd day, and you promised to remove it on the 31st day, so you got a full 30 days. And if you happen to pass the 31st day, then they have a right to remove it, but it's been a public notice. So you gave it to a public notice. You could go out on the courthouse steps and tell people, you got a public notice, and you could read it aloud on the public steps and have witnesses that you read on the public steps of the courthouse. You could post it in there. You can record it in there. You can go as deep as you want to go. So then if the police stop you and you say, I'm going to exercise my Fifth Amendment to remain silent, they put you in jail. Then they're putting you in jail without any proof. There's assumptions and presumptions, and that's false. So now you got kidnapping, false arrest, detainment, mental anguish, and everything else. Then if they tow you a car, so you got damages then, because they're converting a right to remain silent into a crime. So all they saw was there was no tag on this, what they assumed to be a vehicle, but it's an automobile. So they falsely assumed that you had to have it on there, and they falsely assumed you had to have a driver's license. They have no proof that you don't have these things, because if you do, but you've recorded that you're under duress, under threat, and under coercion, you have these, they can't use them against you. So even if you do have a tag on there, they can't use it against you because it was under threat, duress, and coercion. If you have a driver's license, and all you said is the Fifth Amendment, not to talk. So I think you're saying, do you have to say this, that, and other to the police when they stop you? Well, there's two ways to go. So again, if you have all of these so-called instruments, documents, and papers, but you've done it under duress, and the police come up to you and say, listen, I don't want to rock the boat. I prefer not to be thrown into a jail or a dungeon. I prefer that you not taser me, hurt me, or kill me, most especially. So I'm scared. I'm very, very scared of you. I am going to invoke the Fifth Amendment. So that means I'm not going to cooperate with you. I'm not going to give you any papers or documents. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just going to sit here and that's it. And just sit there. So they say, well, you got to tell me your name and address. I told you, Fifth Amendment. Well, what are you doing? Fifth Amendment. Where are you coming from? Fifth Amendment. You just keep repeating Fifth Amendment. Or you don't say nothing. You just sit there and look straight ahead and leave it up to them. But you got to be prepared to get a ticket, notice to appear, to go to jail, whatever. If they say you got to sign this, then you got another choice. You can say, I'm going to autograph it, and they may say yes or no. And you can write under duress, under threat, under coercion, without prejudice, UCC 1-308, and then put your so-called mark, autograph, or signature over the top of it, and use it all as evidence in court. Or you can say, my right to remain silent includes not signing anything. I'm not going to sign it. I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment to remain silent. Silent verbally, silent physically, silent in signature. I'm silent complete. So you do what you got to do, and I'm here. But you better be prepared to go to the jail because they're likely to put you there. Well, you get a bond, and you get out and you go to court. And if you win, then you get damages. You get everything replaced, plus damages for anything you put in damages for, including false arrest, false imprisonment, kidnapping, whatever you want to go after them for. And there may be a good case for the FBI to investigate. If you go the other route and you got your titles to your car, you got it, you've dissolved everything. You may have a book with 10 or 12 or 15 laminated pages, and you may want to just say, look, I ain't apparently what you assume I am. I'm not a driver. I'm not in commerce. This is an automobile, not a vehicle. So reasonableness would say you assume all these things. Here's a book. You may want to peruse through that. It's got all my sworn affidavits and documents, and then see if you want to proceed any further. That's a good opportunity to do that. And I know a man that does that, and he's come out really well. Only one time did they almost take him to jail, but a supervisor come, and that didn't even happen. But I can't guarantee that'll happen to you. Or you could have all that and have it on your person and still let them decide to take you to jail for remaining silent. There is no right or wrong. Say if I'm out there and say there was some other reason, some serious reason to stop you. Say maybe a family member had been injured or killed, and maybe I know of you, but I didn't know you. So I turn on my emergency lights and siren because it technically isn't an emergency, but it's the only way I can get your attention. If I could get it some other way, if it's daylight, I'll motion you to pull over. But maybe it's nighttime, and that's all I can do to say I'm a government official here. And I turn them on, and you pull over, and you start telling me, Fifth Amendment. I'm saying, well, I'm not trying to write you a ticket or do nothing. I ain't talking to you. Okay, well, just listen to me. You had a family member that's been injured or sick, and I'm trying to get a message to you. Okay, and I'm Mr. Good Guy. Okay. But maybe this is some other cop who's a butthole, and so he's trying to give you information, trying to do the right thing, but then he gets pissed off because first thing you say is, I'm Fifth Amendment and I ain't talking to you. Well, attitude. You can talk to a cop with a great attitude and just tell him, I'm scared, but I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment to remain silent, and that includes non-production, no signatures, no nothing. I'm just going to sit here, you do what you do, and that's all I got to say. And just sit there. And there's people that's done that, and they sit there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and eventually the police tell them, okay, go, or leave, or whatever. Or sometimes they put them in jail. Or they threaten to put them in jail, and then people usually get scared and capitulate because they say, you want to go to jail? Hey, you want to go to jail? You know, people get scared. That's that fight or flight. So you got to have a made up mind before you get out on the road what you're willing to do and what you ain't willing to do. Now me, I've got a license. I've got registrations. I've got a certificate of title. Now I got under threat, coercion, and coerce, under threat, coercion, and duress. I've got autographs. I've got without prejudice, and I got my UCC 1-308. I've got autographed non-signature on all my stuff. And on the rare occasion anything's come up, I've been able to go to a magistrate or judge and show that everything's under this, so it has no value. It has no meaning in law. So the so-called traffic stop is void immediately. And that I've been molested and handled wrong, and I may be looking for damages, but if they want to go ahead and do away with this in quick order, then maybe I don't have to go to that point and everything's been done away with. I've helped other people do that. I'm working on a spectacular case with another man on the Mississippi-Alabama state line. He was done very, very, very wrong. And in fact, I've been in contact with him again today, and I've been working with him off and on for 2 or 3 months on issues, and things are coming to a head. And they're trying to deny him constitutional rights left and right from the local, county, state, and federal level, but they're starting to wake up and see he ain't no idiot, and his friends aren't idiots. And my friends up in North Carolina, I'll be meeting with them again and meeting with more militia people. Things are looking up for old Chief Jones here in a great and a mighty way. And I'll answer questions best I can. And so this is to answer questions from real Jingy, mainly towards him or her. I don't know if that's a man or woman. I don't know where they're from. I don't know nothing about them, but they're a very sincere person, and I'm a sincere man or woman. See, I still get caught up saying the wrong word sometimes. So I exercise the right to correct my errors. Anyway, hope this helps. Hope this is good. And I want to say howdy to my good friend Mr. Halls. Hey, Mr. Halls. And Richard Boone again. And gosh, I don't know the name of all the other people that's on here. Bank versus you, my good buddy Jimmy Hutmaster. Howdy to you. I can't, dang, if I had my computer, I could look back and forth and remember a lot of people's names. But anyway, you know who you are. I love all y'all. God bless you. This one's going to be almost 25 minutes long. Some people like these real long ones. But if you got a question, thought, or comment, maybe I can do a video on yours too. If I can write back a quick 2 or 3 paragraph, but if it's going to be more detailed, I'll try and do a video. Can't do it for everybody for everything, but I'll do as much as I can. Comments, questions, thoughts, Daymond, D-A-Y-M-O-N-D 4040 at yahoo.com. Daymond 4040 at yahoo.com. Thank you. God bless you, and see you. Boop. Did it under 25 minutes. Bye-bye.